Hi, everyone. Welcome to Angel Life Makeover. I am your host, Andrea Dombecki from angelfairyhealing.com, and I have a special treat today. Today, we will be talking about Gaia messages, and I have a very special guest, Camilla Blossom from CamillaBlossom.com. Camilla Blossom is a land healer, and she does lots of amazing work with flower essences and land alchemy, and I'm excited to have her on here today. So I'm just gonna have a few announcements before we get started. The Spring Fairy membership is now open for registration, and the Angelic Self-Help membership is starting April 9th. So you can, April 6th. So you guys can find out more information about that on angelfairyhealing.com or join my free Facebook group, Angel Fairy Healing with Andrea Dombecki. So let's welcome our guest, Camilla, today. Hi, Camilla.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, Andrea. I just love you so much and have so enjoyed our partnership in so many ways that we've worked together and been friends. So really appreciate you and all your sharing. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. And do you want to tell everybody a little bit about what you call yourself and what your work is? Like your titles?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes my titles kind of change and morph, right? I think as creative earth empaths and nature intuitives. But yeah, the words I'm using lately are about alchemy, the land alchemy, the earth alchemy, the flower essence alchemy. I am also a soul midwife, but that word alchemy seems to be coming in really strongly as kind of the word that describes that beautiful transformation from the old energies or the 3D or the struggle or what we're moving beyond into the new energy of, I kind of see it as like the golden unity consciousness or Christ Sophia consciousness, where there's just a brilliance of color and energy and love, and moving into those multidimensional 5D places, right? So that those words I use a lot to describe my work. Yeah. I guess the other one that's coming in lately too is to claim that those words medicine woman. I mean, because I work so strongly with the plants and making medicine from the flowers and the trees and the plants, and also do a lot of work with the land, clearing and bringing like soul retrieval magic back, working a lot with all the realms, the fairy realms, the elementals and dragons, the ancestors and spirits of the land. So working with them, there's such an alchemy and medicine that's coming forward. So I think medicine woman, I guess, is a good sort of description too.
Yeah, fairy shaman, medicine woman. And I want to just give everybody a little background now. I know Camilla for over 8 years, a long time, and we met through a mutual friend holding a fairy tea party where we were all presenting. And the first time I met Camilla, she came with her puppet, Uni, and we just kind of clicked right away. You know, she looks so familiar. And throughout the years, like, I'm so gracious for Camilla's healing teaching. She's attuned me to the grandmothers and lots of different plant spirit medicines, flower essences, and we've collaborated in so many exciting ways. And so I just wanted to share about our history, and then, like, you know, throughout the years, you know, we've gone separate ways, but then come back together to collaborate and support each other as we create 5D business, as we hold space for the medicine woman to emerge. We've done classes on fairies and earth empath energies together, and she's been such a great inspiration and soul family for me to connect with, because as a sensitive child, I feel like we need those mentors that help us say, like, one, you're not crazy, you're just psychic, you're just a shaman, you're just a medicine person. And I really always love tapping into Camilla's wealth of knowledge and experience being a healer and working with the plants and the earth. And it's definitely affected me in amazing ways. I do a lot of art for Camilla. I helped her with her book cover. We've also done an oracle card deck together. We'll talk about that. Yeah, that's the new book, Sacred Spirits of Gaia, and that's available on Amazon. Is that also available on your website? And that's the deck. And Camilla wrote everything, and then I illustrated it, and we would work together to channel the art of the animals, the flowers, and mermaids and whales, all kinds of fun stuff in there. So that was one of our COVID projects. We would meet weekly during COVID lockdown. And we were excited to finally like talk about it more and celebrate it because we've been so busy. I moved cross country and we're just kind of getting settled with everything. So those are some excited projects. But what I wanted to say is that as someone myself who's an artist, when I talk to Camilla or I would help her with design work, I would get such amazing visions of like oak tree people, or like once after we did something, I would run outside and start creating like fairy rainbow essences with trees. Like she's a natural activator of that energy. And for me, that energy feels like coming home to the fairy kingdom, coming home to the gnomes, coming home to the trees, and celebrating and activating that in others. So I'm really excited about today's topic, Gaia messages. And Camilla just got back from a journey traveling along the West Coast USA. I'm going to certain land portals and things. Would you like to talk about your experiences
Sure,
or your
yeah.
messages
So
that you
before I do that, I just want to thank you for that. It's so fun to, I mean, even to, yeah, have gratitude for each other and those relationships, and just to say, I so appreciated, the way I could support you, but also just to talk about Andrea is such an amazing visionary and gifted psychic rainbow child. I don't know, the crystalline rainbow child energy. Even as an adult, you just carry such a beautiful, playful, childlike in the most wondrous way, and also just very insightful and powerful. So you've been such a support for me as well, helping kind of bring physicality and visuals to a lot of the work too, like illustrating a lot of these things that I'm bringing through, and they're all, in this other realm. And then Andrea has this ability to ground it in and like really share, like, this is what it can look like so people can relate to it. And I feel like there's some special energy that happens with us when we're together that's like exponentially expanding, right? Each other and everything we do. And it's just such a gift. So wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
I know.
grateful for you.
It's amazing to see that, what soul family collaborations are capable of, how like I say we spark each other, when we meet someone in the soul family and we're like, oh, I'm going to help you do this, or remind you of who you are and your purpose. And then we all have pieces of that.
Exactly. And I think the other thing that's really helpful that we've done with each other, besides like really the personal and the growth, but like on a business level, like having sort of different unusual businesses, right, that are very intuitive, spirit-led, and 5D, and like how we grow them, how we expand, and like the support that we've given each other to help step forward and step up and feel good about that, and feel like, yeah, we can do this, we can make money doing this, we can grow and change. And so that's been a really beautiful way that we've worked as well, like in that I like to think of it like executive fairy level work, right? Stepping up into that leadership. So awesome. Yeah, so I just went on this trip, and I was kind of returning to some places I had been 10 years before. 10 years ago, I had been traveling with, I traveled with Marshall Golden Eagle Jack, and we did work, ceremonial work on behalf of the water, and we did water wheels with crystalline grids. And one of the things on the way back from that journey, it was like a 2.5, 3-year journey around mostly the West Coast and Southwest of the US. But on the way back, I stopped at or was told, like, stop at the saguaro cactus. And so I stopped there, and I am, work with plants, and they're such a medicine, and I communicate with them. And so we got to the desert where they were, and Marshall always would give offerings. He's a Native American, and thank the ancestors and open the way for what we were doing there. And he looks at me and he says, "The cactuses, they're going to talk to you about men." And I thought that was so funny. I said, "Yeah, I had a feeling." So I went over to this cactus. It was blooming at the time. So it's like the huge saguaros, those massive ones. And so way up high on the top was these gorgeous white flowers. And some of them had fallen around so I could be with them. And I was called to one of them. I start circling around and singing and like celebrating, so excited. And then this cactus says, "I'm your father now." I was like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh, thank you." And I realized like I love my father, but there's been a lot of father healing in my life. It's just sort of how it's gone down, for what I'm learning this time around. And so this cactus really came in. And so I made a flower essence of it and worked with it. And so this trip I went on was kind of a return to do some healing for what has gone on in the last 10 years, the kind of hardships and struggles and things I've had to overcome. I had my flower essence business taken from me without permission. And so, and that was 10 years ago. So like going back there was kind of a pilgrimage to go back and be with them again. So I did. And the medicine was just so beautiful in the Arizona desert, being with this cactus again, re-seeing, being with my father again. And he gave me some, messages that I'll share with you, because if you're resonating, one of the words was reform. Like it's his, and you can even imagine like now, if you want to tune in, just letting that spirit of the saguaro cactus, like that medicine, that frequency, come in your crown, come in your heart, your hands, your feet, if you'd like. And the way I was experiencing it was that it was coming into my left brain, so my more analytical male side, and seeing even that green fleshy cactus, and then moving into my heart, and then into my solar plexus. So you can even imagine seeing that like energy of its spirit moving in. And it felt like it was kind of healing that male side, that masculine confidence in the third chakra, the intermarriage, the love between male and female in the heart, and then the side of the brain that's more associated with quote masculine, but like analytical, those kind of things. And so so that felt powerful. It also said it can help free us from worry. And I realized worries when we're like looking to the future and like always trying to, oh no, is that going to work out? Da, 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 da. But when we stay in the present, like, and trust, like there's no need to worry, right? So its medicine was, he told me this time was helpful for that. And then also that word reform came in. And so that could be like, I don't know, it's sort of an interesting word to play with, right? Like form, reform, how we reform, reframe, reshape our lives. So I'm just taking the essence now, again, and being with the energy. So that was like one piece of it. And then while I was traveling through California and Arizona, I just felt called to start planting crystals. And it kind of felt supported too with my Patreon group. Andrew's in that group. I have a group that we meet and work together on Gaia, and do grid work and meditations and intentions, work with the fairies, elementals, and different spirits. And so it just felt like kind of a calling was coming through as I was traveling. And so I started in Mount Shasta. I live in Vancouver, Washington. So the first stop was Mount Shasta, and the last stop was Mount Shasta. And there, like, you can bless the source waters of the Sacramento River, and the water elementals. And I went up to the mountain and connected with a crystal that I had worked with some other women last year. That was like an activation of a divine feminine crystal. But what was really cool, you might have seen the picture, Andrea. It was like I was doing a little video for the Patreon group. And then in the video, like the sun looked like pastel rainbows all around. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's like showing what the crystal looks like to me in my vision. So it was like really amazing. So just connecting with that crystal. And then from there, I don't know, maybe that was part of the instigation. It was like a real mother crystal, right? Deep in the earth that really wanted to come back online. So he had done that last year. And then from there, I have these Lemurian crystals, and I just was called to, there were like points. I was called to place them in different places all around during my trip, starting in Mount Shasta, then in the Redwoods, in Arizona, and then all these places in California on the way home. And I kind of got stuck down there because of snowstorms. Well, I say stuck, but not really. And there are new places. And I know Andrea and I would talk to, like, feels like there's more places. What are you getting? And so we would talk to about, different places that these crystals wanted to be planted. And I actually did a whole video on this that you can look at, but just to share it, to wrap this up a little more. Each crystal, when I planted it in, it felt like it was going deeply in to the center of the earth and connecting from the surface to the center, and like opening more pathway for Gaia's beautiful energy to come back out and up, and also the fairies, and also that deep high frequencies of the inner earth, the Lemurian inner earth too, to come up and be spread on the surface. And so they were, the dragons, the sand dragons, different ones I was connecting with, were calling them like earth gates, and reminding me, like, well, there's stargates where you're creating portals for cosmic energy to come down onto the earth. But these were like earth gates to kind of open portals in places that needed to open on the earth. And also that we're going to be doing, I feel like this is something we'll be doing with Andrea and the Patreon group, of like seeing all these stargates matching up with the places of the earth gate, and then really connecting more heaven and earth energies together. So that's kind of in a nutshell, like
that's amazing. Yeah. And I think just hearing about your journey kind of attunes people to be like, oh, I can connect with the earth more by me. Do you have any like simple tips maybe for people who are just beginning, of how to, what is the earth grid? How can they connect with it? And, can we do it just with energy, without crystals? But that's good too. It's
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
I know that sometimes that term is new to me too, but I think hearing about your travels, I'm like, oh, let me go out and connect and do healing ceremony or offering. Can you just, offer a few simple tips maybe that anyone could use to go
definitely
do their own earth healing?
Well, I know it's funny because when I started learning about the crystalline grid, actually some of my teachers, the Twin Trees, have this beautiful description in one of their gemstone books. But I kept trying to like get it in my head. It just was like, I don't get it. And then when I let that go and started working with it and just trusting, okay, I don't really get what, linear, right? Like, let the saguaro cactus calm down, that linear brain, right? The analytical, figured out brain. And just like recognize, okay, there's this grid of light. You can imagine it like a spider web or a actual grid looking energy that's light and it's fluid and crystalline. And this is like the new one that is coming in, right? It's kind of how our bodies are becoming more crystalline. The earth is becoming more crystalline, or is crystalline. And now the new grids, like why so much chaos and destruction and structures falling all around? It's like those are the old grids. But this new grid, if you just focus on the idea and imagine, use your imagination and visions and just that, oh yeah, I see Gaia in her new high multidimensional 5D enlightened place as this grid of fluidity, of light, of love, and this is really powerful. This is how we do the work. It's like just feeding that energy in is what's creating it. So this is like, right, when we vision and we think about it and we focus on, oh yeah, this new grid of Mother Earth is really different from this government we're seeing and mass destruction and shootings and all that, right? Like keep focusing on the fun and the magic. That's why I love all the fairy work we do, right? Because we can focus on unicorns and fairies and like all the magic of these beings that want to be part of the quote new earth, which really just means that new consciousness of a fully lit grid. And then translating that ourselves, like we have our own crystalline grid, right? We're our own energy system, which is getting lighter and higher and more higher frequencies, more colorful, more sparkly, more delightful, more easy and connected, right? Connected to all the different realms, not so many veils, very intuitively and spiritually guided. So some really simple things we can do. One right now, and that is with everyone I work with, every client, every mentor client, every student, like every class, like let's connect to the crystalline grid. And so we can do that right now. And all you need to do is just take a moment and imagine yourself, hold that intention. I would like to connect with the crystalline grid of Mother Earth, Gaia. And that's it. You might have some visuals of, oh, or you might have a feeling, like I tend to be feeling. If you don't feel anything, you probably are connected. So sometimes you don't need to reconnect. You're already there. You're already in the oneness. You're already like one with the spirit of Gaia, with your spirit. And that's such a powerful thing to be too at a time when there's so much chaos and it's, so many things going on. Like when you have the support of Gaia, of the whole planet, of all the elementals and fairies that are her body, of the trees, the plants, the crystals, right? So when we just connect so simply with her in that one simple way, it feels relaxing. That's my experience a lot. I don't know, how did you feel when you're probably already really connected, but did you feel anything, Andrea?
Yeah, I felt like a sense of coming home, but it's like I always have to be reminded too, because I get so like into human society and disconnected that I'm like, oh, just connect with the grid.
Yeah.
And especially like, I moved to South Dakota about a year and a half ago. I had to keep walking the grid here, and I felt like the grid would speak to me more about what's going on and like make friends with me, but it made me feel more grounded and like safe in a new space and comfortable in my body as a star seed, because I think as a star seed or fairy, I always need to be connected to earth or like magical things. If I get too like concrete and like separation, I don't feel right as a human. So I think
Yeah.
that that's one of the major things, is that return to nature. I did want to talk a little bit about Camilla's work throughout the years and what she offers. She has a large collection of flower essences. There's a catalog on your website. I have a few right here, ones that I use every day. My 3 tree essence, oak, pine, willow, and fairy godmother essence or grandmother essence.
Yeah,
And
the
then of
grandmother.
course I have like blends you made me for my rainbow crystal essence, and some of my favorites are Angelica and Yarrow for empaths and sensitive people. And I really love using them daily and making them. And that's similar. I wanted to also talk about how that's similar to like flower essences, but you make them with plants, and you have, years of experience doing that and attuning other people to that. And you are offering a class this
Mhm.
year on that too. Would you like to talk a little bit about your flower essence,
Yeah,
the history with that, and then the class you're offering?
sure. And just to kind of connect it to the grid, because there's one more thing I wanted to add for the crystalline grid, or actually two things, but that the essences are such beautiful frequency medicine that they help us. Like if, let's say we have trouble grounding or getting fully in our body because of trauma, the essences are a beautiful way to help us move through healing process, emotional, mental, spiritual, psychic, all different ways. So they really are helpful for that, for connection. And also in that connection, they are plants, right? So they're connected already. But to add to the crystalline grid, I was just thinking when you were talking, Andrea, how like when we're connected to the crystalline grid, we're connected to the full communication system of the earth. And so even like our connection, like, right, it opens up in the grid. Or if we want to connect with trees, or want to connect with yarrow or the lilies, like the crystalline grid is like the connection system of all the crystalline energies, but they're communicating with each other and everything. So that's really exciting, right?
Really
To
good.
think of how like this medicine really works. And also, of course, using crystals themselves connect us with the grid because they're from that. They're the communication system. So
And sometimes they work hand in hand with the flowers when you make the essence.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And I know you've been making essences too now. And like it's fun to make the potions and have, sometimes crystals want to be in it or on the around the edge of the bowl. So I was called to make them in 2000. I had learned and used them a lot, especially during postpartum period, after having my son 28 years ago. And so I received so much healing from homeopathy and flower essences and aromatherapy. So like flowers and plants became such a deep love and a support and a healing for me. And so I started sharing them. But in 2000, I was called. It was like this voice was like, come make flower essences with us in the Columbia River Gorge, because it's such an amazing river valley with so much different elevation from 12,000-foot mountains down to sea level, and then desert and rainforest and so many different microclimates. So I was called to gather with two other friends in the beginning, and we started making them. And as soon as listening to guidance, like when and where and how, and ask permission, and then it just felt like, boo, like my heart flooded open, this energy poured through, and like, yes, flower essences, this is amazing. And so I ended up making a whole bunch that first year, like a whole set of them, and then continued that work and opened, the other two kind of fell away and did other things. And I opened a business in Hood River that was on the Oak Street, their main street, for 13 years, and had a practice and a business, and worked with this medicine very intently. And and for myself, of course, and it just had so many, like each time I would make them, it would be this magic story, right? It would be like, oh my gosh, I could feel healing here, or this vision came in, or these fairies showed up and showed me. And so it just, every time I use them too, it felt like my body was integrating this medicine, so that it was like more than just, use it and done. It was like, they're really teachers or guides, they're ancient ones, they're elders, grandmothers, grandfathers, fairies, spirits of these plants and trees, and moss. And they were just such incredible teachers and guides. And so I continue since then in different ways to work with them. And I'm really excited. I'm kind of like, part of this trip was to come full circle and start teaching again. I've been doing some mentorship, the last few years, but I've been focusing a lot on land and getting my book finished, the Sacred Spirits of Gaia book, which has the plants in it, but a lot of the fairies and ancestors. But this spring is such a potent spring. I mean, spring always is, but there's something about this year that just feels like over the top, like, and so important to express our passions and to share and to delight in that and step forward. And so in April, May, I'm going to do online 6-week series to really experiential. I like to, I know you know this about me, Andrea, but like really take people on journeys. Like that's a big part of the work. Like I don't just talk and tell you what I know. Like that doesn't really translate for other people. You have to learn it yourself and have your own experiences. So I like to give places of sacred space to kind of guide you in and catalyze your connection with the fairies, the flowers, the plant realms, open to their messages, to their spirits, and then have your own kind of healing experiences to learn about them. And so that you can use them. Comes with a little kit of 9 essences, and you can use them for yourself or even in your healing practice. I know a lot of healers are drawn to the medicine. So yeah, I'm really excited to step back in. It's such gentle but powerful vibrational medicine, right? I know you've really enjoyed doing that work too.
Yeah, because I grew up with the Bach flower remedies,
Yeah.
the famous English guy, and I love those books, but like I never was told like you can make them
Yeah.
yourself until I moved out west. I lived in the Pacific Northwest. That's where I met Camilla for like 14 years, and we would go to the forest there and do lots of stuff. But I remember being over there starting to make them, and just it was so loud. The plants and the flowers would be so loud. And then like when I would make them for myself or others, I could feel like, oh, my chakras align. And like it was
Yeah.
like so healing. I would feel it so much. And the attunements like to the passion flower and the roses and yarrow, and just experiencing all the plants over there, and the ones that you've taught me about, like St. John's wort and passion flower again, and yarrow, white yarrow. Kamal's always saying white yarrow is important, and
And
yellow
pink
yarrow,
yarrow. Yeah.
pink yarrow, learning about
Mhm.
all the yarrows. And just coming home to that's like part of the medicine as a medicine woman. And for me, I grew up with those things, but I wasn't really passionate about them. But it seems to be unlocking more at this time in my life, like the flowers and the herbs and like the sacred connection to all of these kingdoms of nature, including the crystals and the trees, and how they all weave together to like give us the emotional support we need, the spiritual support we need, and how some of us, we speak that language. That's our fairy medicine. That's our
Yeah.
vibrational medicine, right? They call it. And so I'm really excited about that work and getting back to it, because it's like with all the sacred work, we have to take time to do it. It's like slowing down. And I
Mhm.
think that's how like I love Camilla's Patreon group. And in there, like it's a reminder to like make your seasonal potions, because I make like seasonal sprays and things. And it's like we don't always, like for me, I don't do that professionally, but I make it for myself and my friends, and it's such a holistic healing thing. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about Camilla's website is
Yeah.
CamillaBlossom.com. She has a newsletter if you want to find out um, about her events. She does local events in the Pacific Northwest and also lots of online events. She also offers sessions, and she has class replays. Any other social media you're on? You have a big YouTube. There's lots of healing videos on YouTube.
Mhm.
You talked about the saguaro cactus on YouTube, you said?
Yeah. And actually I just kind of in conjunction with my book and the cards, Sacred Spirit of Gaia, I thought it'd be fun to have collect videos that kind of relate to the different magical meetings with the different spirits. And so I have a free portal, and it's on my website homepage that's called a Gaia portal, free Gaia portal. And you can go in there and it's got all sorts of videos organized by different topics. So if you want to look at mermaids, and I'm going to keep adding things as I work with them. There's a plant flower section, there's a water section, and videos about grandmothers. You can also go to my YouTube and find things, but I thought the free portal would be fun because it kind of has it organized
Yeah.
around, more of the book.
Yeah. And where can they get the
Um,
Oracle deck? Can you show us the Oracle deck a little bit more?
yeah.
Yeah, so that
Yeah. Oh my God. So yeah,
Gaia.
Andrea made this, and well, this one's a little different. If you look at the Oracle deck, And if you're listening, I know you can't see this, but the book, she did a picture of me with my drum in front of a tree. And in the oracle deck, there's the gnome and me as a young one, or a
Oh yeah, and
young.
show the back of the book too. I love the back of the
Oh
book.
yeah, this drawing is amazing. And it's kind of like a visual guide to calling in the directions with the elements and elementals. That's how I see it. And I use it that way in the classes now. I love it. And then maybe we can pick a couple cards out
Yeah, let's
and then
pick
you
a
can
couple of
show.
cards and give people messages for right now. It
Yeah.
seems like people need a
You're,
lot of comfort right now. You know, it's like with like all the earth changes and all the, you know, political
yeah.
stuff happening, that it's like
Yeah.
really important to connect with spirit, connect with earth, connect with each other, and receive those sacred messages. Because I know at
Yeah.
times like we can get into that shock or that terror, and then we forget all our tools, or that there's all this sacred medicine right here for us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And getting back, like we were talking about this being message, Gaia messages. And I think really important is to recognize like that Gaia's part of Gaia are her animals and her trees and plants and fairy realm. And so any connection with any of them can be soothing and healing, you know, with nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
And connecting with her crystalline grid and yeah, and just opening to these ways that can bring you more peace. And I think a big, like what I was talking about, you know, the new grid and then the falling of the old, I think just that awareness that as we vision and build and feed and these delightful, playful, magical parts of ourselves and our connection with nature, it's like that's such a huge message. That's like such a huge connection. And then it helps you get out of like, let's step out of that 3D struggle, right? We don't need to stay there. Even if we have things come up or have work that way, like stay in the new. So we can ask for, I think like 3 cards will do that'll help bring messages through from Gaia and her guardians and guides. And I love how you do oracle readings, Andrea, so you can do this with me. Ooh, this is fun. Okay, look. The home Deva came forward. It's this beautiful, ancient looking tree being who's like the being is the tree, is the home, and kind of represents more of a gnome home, but it's like we can see our home magically. It says honor the spirit of home. So I think this is very comforting and loving in that message of, and even connecting, you know, with your home Deva, your home angel, your home spirit, whatever you want to call it, your fairy there. Just opening, you can do that for a moment right now and just ask for connection and that you want a happy home, a peaceful home, a sanctuary, a place where you can really gather yourself and be in the new energy, connect the grid to your home. Anything else, Andrea?
You know, I was getting, I feel like this card like talked to me last night, because I was getting messages how like a safe, comfortable home is like all we need sometimes for healing. When we go through challenging times, we don't feel well, we have a sanctuary on earth, and how important that is, and how to make something a sanctuary, you
Yeah.
know, and fill it with love and peace and that feeling of comfort and safety and healing.
Yeah. And Gaia can be really present there. You can ground your home into Gaia more, into the crystalline grid. That's so true, isn't it? And I think for a lot of us empath sensitives, people that are probably listening here, it's kind of like creating that beautiful boundary of safe, sacred space, right? And if
Yeah.
you feel like you're home, like you live in a place where, you know, apartment or somewhere that there's a lot of energy or chaos, like put crystals around your home, you know, you can even put like black tourmalines in each corner of your house to grid it and clear energy from coming in, or, you know, protect it. Put some apophyllite to bring fairies in, rose quartz to bring the Lemurian and heart energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And refreshing it, clear it, you know, use aromatherapy or sound or prayers.
I always like my fairy feng shui, like listening to the
Yeah,
fairies. What
yeah,
do they want? Oh, they put a plant here.
yeah.
Get this new flower for the
Mhm.
garden.
Yeah, like clean it up, declutter it. I have a whole video on that too, on my, I think it's online. Oh yeah, and then the other one that came forward was Gaia herself,
Nice.
and it was about connecting to the crystalline grid. So I love that it's like confirmation.
Wow.
But we can ask too if there's any other messages from her spirit, from Gaia and the crystalline grid. I guess the one other piece to add that awareness is for that vertical alignment is that we can connect to the crystalline grid in the earth below, but you can also connect your crown to the sun and the crystalline grid of the sun, great central sun, cosmic sun, and even the galactic center. So if you really want to work on opening your vertical alignment, you can also be part of helping channel heaven and earth, the cosmos and the earth energy through your body. Yeah, jump in, Andrea, if you're getting any more messages. I'm just kind of listening.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
just feeling a lot of the sacred sites like Egypt and different places are vortex,
Mhm.
and like that it's really great to attune and connect with that crystalline grid because we're getting more information about like the ancient people would build special cathedrals and pyramids on those places, and we're working with the ley lines, and I don't think people
Yeah.
understand that much, like the power of the ley lines, the grid, and that it's an electrical magical current that the earth
Yes.
runs. And how does that affect us? We feel good when we're at certain places on the earth, and the earth has like a life force connected to our nervous system, which I
Beautiful.
think
I
I'm
love that.
always like contemplating the mystery and the beauty of that connection. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And also, I love that you said that because it's like the portals and the ley lines are all connected with the grid, and it is electromagnetic, and
Mhm.
we are electromagnetic. And so there is a power there for sure. Yeah. And just, I guess the other message is like if you're having a hard time or you really need support or healing, um, the earth, Gaia, her spirit, and you can even like lay on her. I know when it's cold, it's harder to do that in the snow, but you could even bundle up in your snowsuit and go do angels or something in the snow. But like really receive from her. I know that's a big one for a lot of us, especially sensitives. Like we were such givers and healers and helpers. Like really receive the love of her heart, her spirit, like a hug. You can even imagine as a warm blanket coming around you. And that's also very protective. So, if, people or situations or things around you are too much or you're overstimulated, just imagine like a Gaian blanket. I have all these special blankets myself, and or even this scarf, like just putting it around you like a hug from Gaia feels like really healing.
Nice.
So
Yeah, and I feel like
she's got
of the
you. So
past few
that's her
years,
message. Like she's got you.
like I
She's the
have to sit
mama.
on the earth a lot. It
Yeah.
feels really good and walk on the earth and just, but I was kind of raised outside too, but I feel it if I'm not outside enough. Like I'll feel more anxiety and
Yeah.
stuff. And then the
Yeah.
second I'm outside, I'm fine.
I know, right? It's just a reminder, but sometimes it's easy to get stuck inside. The third one is stone being. I love this art that Andrea did. It's like so beautiful. The ancient stones. Listen to the ancient stones. I was just working with a client yesterday, and she found this kind of land altar place on her land, and there's a stone there, and then during the session, the stone kept saying, "Hey, talk to me, talk to me." And the stone kept saying, "I'm a touchstone. I have magic powers. I want to work with this woman." And so just a reminder, like how powerful and ancient and like the grandmothers and grandfathers, like if you really, need to learn and need to open, there's so much intelligence and knowledge and wisdom and support in the stones, in the stone beings. and to recognize them around. Sometimes when we have gardens and people, may have stones around, like they get covered up by the grass, like really honor the stones and the crystals. These earth beings are so grounding, the rocks and the crystals, the gems, your jewelry.
Yeah.
So they want to be acknowledged. I think all these beings that are in the cards, there's 44 of them, and in the book, the fairies, the stones, the earth, the home deva, they all just really love to be honored with acknowledgement, appreciation, love, listening, opening. Even if you don't think you can do it, just use your imagination, pretend you can talk to the stone, the pet rock or whatever. And they'll help you ground too. I think all this that we're going through, like the grounding element back into the crystalline grid.
Yeah.
It's like the earth acupuncture that I was doing on the land.
And do you feel that, like, if the universal connection to the grid awakens more, that there'll be more environmental healing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it awakens us. And one of the interesting things that I learned about the crystalline grid from the twin trees and the connection with our nervous system, like that's what's connecting our nervous system, which is our seat of perception and spirituality and consciousness, right? Our nervous system. And so one of the things that's happened to humans is we've had certain myths kind of take over our systems from the past, like that we are not divine, we are not holy, we are not, powerful and connected with the oneness of earth. So the more that you intend to connect with the crystalline grid, the more those get erased. And then it's like, oh yeah, like it just automatically dissolves those kind of old, artificial, untrue beliefs and energies, right? So there's such a power to think like we're just being cleansed as we be with nature, go out in nature, connect with the grid, imagine this beautiful paradise garden of earth, the sacred garden of your life and yourself.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I feel like it's so much a feeling like coming home to the fairy kingdom, the plants, the crystals, the mermaids, the dragons, like they're so natural to us, but they've been kind of shut off, and coming home to that is like, yes, that's my family.
Yeah. It was cute too. I just realized like the stone and the earth and the home, and thought there might be some way, since these three came up, like the message of, thinking about the stones and the crystals for your house to help you connect with Gaia. So there may be a crystal you have, or it may be a stone that you find that wants to work with you, that you could bring in your home as like a touchstone or a connector stone, or you could hold it, or you could have it, or you could see it. And when you see it or hold it, like it blesses your home, of course, but it connects you and your home right into the grid and keeps that going strongly.
That's a good point. And like,
Yeah, it's
I
kind
keep
of
seeing a
fun.
stone circle, like making a stone circle
Yeah,
on my
I was kind
patio.
of getting that too.
And it
Yeah.
helps, and also collecting local stones helps me ground more into the area, because being in a new place, it really took a while to, like, and I still am, adjust to the energy of the earth
Mhm.
here and the frequencies in the grid. So it's like collecting objects from here helps me like understand its language
That's
and
a
feel
great
more
idea.
rooted.
Because I was seeing that too, like this the circle. So doing that for local, yeah. So you can like meet and connect with those energies right there. And that came in too last night when I was working with that woman and that stone, and it was like a fairy portal area. And I was envisioning a circle of rose quartz stones just on the grass there. So I think those ways that the stone circles are powerful
Yeah, the circles are
anchor.
so
And
amazing.
yeah. And you can also sit in the center. In my book, I have a lot of rituals and ideas for these things, but you can take stones or crystals and like make, for like, if you want to do grandmother circle, do 13 and sit in the center and call in the grandmothers and that's energy of their empowerment, wisdom. So there's a lot of different kinds of ways, just using your creativity and intuition.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for visiting today
Yeah, I
and
know, it's so
sharing your earth
fun.
magic and wisdom with others. And before we get going today, do you want to just tell us more tell everyone how they can connect with you and your Patreon and where to get your book and card deck?
Yeah, for sure. The easiest thing is just to go to my website with my name. It's CamillaBlossom.com. And I've kind of set it up on there too, where like if you want to just take a step and come into things and order the book or look at the free portal, like there's a little link area to go to those places. And also if you want to go deeper, I have deeper courses, a 10-month land alchemy course, and then the 6-week spring flower essence course coming up, and some other things, Patreon, of course, for community. And so that's the best place. And then to order my book, you can order on there as well. And there's also, if you'd rather go through Amazon, when you go into the order page for this, there is a link if you'd like to do Amazon. And then the card deck, you can get through me. Sometimes I'm having trouble keeping enough in stock. So if there's also a link to the Game Crafters, you can order directly from them as well. If I'm having back ordered or something, but they're available on my shop, at my website as well, or the Game Crafters.
Okay.
And yeah.
And yeah,
So,
one more thing is your flower essence catalog. That's on your website too. And do you have
under
any
the shop.
recommendations for right now about like what's a good flower essence
Well,
for ascension or?
yeah. Okay. What's popping in right now is willow. Yeah, willow's jumping out right now for us. And yarrow, of course, is a sort of a general always, because it's like knits your auric field for sensitives, for balance, detoxification. I want to add lupin. And actually, it's interesting for this course I've been putting together just this last week, the 6-week program. I kind of pulled out 9 essences that just felt like these want to really help us right now. And willow's among them, and lupin, silky lupin's the one that's from around here. But willow is a beautiful tree essence for staying fluid and watery and clearing, being forgiving, having forgiveness practice, flexibility for the body, just help flow with our emotions. And the ancient trees are just so beautiful. So that one's great. And then lupin feels like she wants to, I see her as a she because she's very goddessy, purple goddess. She has kind of a lot of things. I feel like I'm going to learn more even, but one of the strong ones right now is detoxification. And she's one that grew all around Chernobyl after the radiation accident years ago, and actually can clear and heal radiation from the lands and bring nitrogen back. And so I was just feeling like that detoxification word that was coming up for her, from her, was just that we're all in this massive time of cleansing and clearing, releasing, right? Of our old lives. We're entering these new crystalline days and energies of the new earth. So lupin is very supportive for that, and also for self-expression, bringing happiness and joy. So I guess jumping out is those 3: the yarrow, always, willow, and lupin, silky lupin. And they are on my website, my shop, and the catalog is on the shop too. And then if you want to go deeper and learn about them, come to my course and you'll get to experience them and have the kit with them in it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. So join Camilla's newsletter and to stay up to date on everything she's doing. And you can also see her videos on YouTube. All right. So let's just do a little fairy prayer for everybody, a fairy earth prayer. Thank you, for connecting us today with all these magical fairies and Camilla and all this magical, beautiful networking for soul family, incarnated fairies, earth keepers, star seeds, that we all support each other and teach each other things and help each other to feel more comfortable on earth and to express our gifts and magic. Thank you.
Thank
Right.
you. Blessed be. Thank you so much, Andrea.
Welcome. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time.